Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so let us do the small recap about the extra day's topic. So we know all this extra day we did some important problems on top of for loop, right? Especially we have spoken a lot about the expression one. Can someone confirm if my screen is visible? Hello? I just want to make sure. Okay then. Okay, Chaitanya. Okay, Darshini. Today the class is going to be very interesting. Pay some attention because you will not be getting these topics in the textbooks. The Java textbooks, you won't be getting this kind of information and this kind of especially this kind of problems. You don't see it anywhere. These things are analyzed from my end, and I'm giving you the enlightenment kind of knowledge. Okay? So the expression one, when you talk about the expression one is optional. We have already done some problems on this particular to prove this particular line, right? You can leave it blank, but you must ensure that the variable is declared and initialized before the for loop. So this is the typical example. Right? You see in the for loop, the expression one is left empty, but the initialization and the declaration has already been done before the for loop, right? So that is what it means. You can leave it blank, but you need to ensure that the variable is getting initialized before the for. Accepted, no issues. The second point, says the expression one can be used to print something in the console. So instead of actually this place is reserved for the declaration and the initialization of variable, right? But you can also use this place to print something in the console. It is not mandatory that you can use this only for the declaration and the initialization, right? So you can do the declaration outside. You can do the declaration and initialization outside, and you can use this particular place to do some other operation. In this case, we are trying to print something in the console. This is one of the examples, and we have seen some problems how to print any tables by using Java program, right? And we have also seen how to print the sum of first n natural numbers, right? We have also got to know how to write a Java program to find the factorial of a given number, right? And what is this problem? Okay, to print the number in the reverse direction. And again today we will see we need to identify whether the given for loop is a finite for loop or the infinite for loop. Yes, please join on time, guys. Please join exactly at 8 p.m. because I need to cover a lot of syllabus. Right? Please don't keep me waiting in the lobby. Okay. So now differentiate between the finite and the infinite for loop. So what does this mean exactly? Whenever you are saying a for loop, the for loop can be a finite for loop. So when I say finite means the output can be counted, the iterations can be counted, right? So when I say finite for loop, the number of iterations is countable. The number of iterations are countable, right? For example, if I take a program like this, right? So a simple for loop, right? If I run this program, the output is going to be what? The numbers from 0 to 5 will be printed. It is countable, right? I can say this as what? Finite for loop. Why it is finite for loop? When I run this program after compilation and when I execute this program, the output is the number of iterations are countable. Making sense? Let me run this. Java C space test.java. Java space test. So see the number of the number of iterations are countable. Right? When I say infinite for loop, this for loop will never end. The for loop will be never ending. It keeps counting, right? So let me go to the paintbrush, right? If I consider this as an example, the output is completely countable, right? So this is the control will be starting from the expression 1, expression 2, right? Body of the for loop, expression 3, right? So it is at one point of time, this particular control will be terminated in the sense, if the expression 2 is evaluated to be false, then the control will be kicked out of the for loop. At one point of time, definitely we can see that this condition is going to this condition will get evaluated to be false, the false value, right? But there are at times you may get a situation like the condition is going to be infinitely generating the true value itself. For example, so take this as an example. Okay, let me take this as an example. So now you tell me whether this particular for loop is going to be a finite or the infinite one. What is the output that we can expect, or that we can anticipate from this for loop? Can anyone answer this to me? A for loop, I have three expressions: expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3. If I execute this program, what is the output that I can anticipate? Can anyone guess the output? Hello, you got my question, right? What is the output for this for loop? Can you answer me? Here are Chaitanya says errors. What about others? I want answers from Shashwant, Darshini, Jyoti also says error. What about others? So, okay, before even asking others, Chaitanya, Shashwant, and Jyoti, can you tell me why we are getting error? Do you have answers for that? I minus minus. What about Shashwant? Others got my questions. Samikta, Raji, Jyoti, N, Darshini. I minus minus. So at least tell me if you have got my question or not. Okay. Okay, let me run this. This is the program. Just focus here. So I am not getting any compilation error. See, the output is infinite, guys. Why we get error? I don't understand. The output is going to be infinite. It keeps running. The for loop is going to be evaluated to be true every time, right? The output is going to be infinite. This type of for loop is called as what? Infinite for loop. So the reason it has been stopped is because I have used control C. That's why it has stopped, or else it keep executing itself. Right? I will explain you why it is infinite for loop. I am going to explain you. Now you focus here. People who said error, okay, I am explaining it for you, as well as people who did not answer, when I am explaining for themselves as well. Okay. Keep focusing here. So we should be in a position to identify whether a for loop is a finite for loop or the infinite for loop. So let me create some spaces for the better observation. Okay, it's really not necessary, but for the better observation, I am creating spaces, right? So now the control will be starting from the expression 1. We know all this, right? So expression 1 says value 5 has been assigned to the variable I. Yes or no? So value 5 value 5 has been assigned to what? Has been assigned to what? Variable I. Expression 1 has been completed successfully. Now the control will be transferred to expression 2. Expression 2 is the conditional check expression, right? So either it has to return true or false, right? Now check the condition. Condition says I is greater than or equal to 0, right? After evaluation, whether it is going to return true or false, tell me. This conditional expression, will it return true or false? Answer me. Phi is lesser than or equal to 0 because the value of phi is substituted to 5. So phi is phi is greater than or equal to 0, right? What is the evaluation false? True only, right? We know that true, right? So true. First time it is going to be true, right? So if it is true, the control will be transferred to the body of the for loop. What the body of the for loop says, it has only one statement which is asking us to print I in the console. What is the value of phi? Latest value of phi? Phi itself, right? So in the console, the value phi will be printed, yes or no? Right? Phi will be phi will be printed, right? From here, expression 3. Expression 3 says I plus plus. I plus plus means what? This phi will be incremented to 6. Right? Again the conditional check. Again what happens? The conditional check. 6 will be compared is greater than or equal to 0. Sorry, here what I have used here. This is the program. Same program, no? Yeah, same program. So I plus plus, it is going to return what? True, right? If it is returning true, from here it will go here. Conditional check is returning true. Body of the for loop, print the value of phi. What is the latest value of phi? Is going to be 6, right? Phi is replaced with 6. 6 will be printed in the console, right? So if you keep repeating this, right, it is going to return true only, because the conditional statement is going to check whether the number is greater than or equal to 0. At any point of time, the number keeps incrementing from 5. The number keeps incrementing. There is no possibility for this conditional check to get evaluated to false. At every time, it is going to be true only, because the condition itself says the I is greater than or equal to 0, right? So it keeps incrementing, infinitely. 11, 12, 13, 14, it keeps getting incrementing. Is there any chance for this conditional check to get to be found to be getting evaluated to be false? No chance, right? Yes or no? Are you getting my point? Hello, Chaitanya, Darshini, everyone. No chance, no. So it is found to be an infinite for loop. Now can I say that this is an infinite for loop? Right? Why it is infinite for loop? Because of this conditional expression, it is infinite. Because of this conditional expression, because if you keep running at any point of time, there is no chance for this conditional expression to get evaluated to false. You will not get this false, because the loops will be it keeps getting iterated infinitely. There is no chance for this loop this condition to get evaluated false. That's why it is called as an infinite for loop. Making sense, everyone? So you should be in a position to identify whether a for loop is a finite or infinite for loop. Got it? Right? So now next question. Now you tell me whether it is a finite for loop or infinite for loop. Answer can be, there can be two answers. I do not want the exact answer. I just want the answers from your end, whether it is a finite one or an infinite one. Or error. Even errors are also possible. Finite, infinite, or error. Take pen and paper, keep it slow, try to answer. So you want me to post this in the chat box? I will do that also. Whether it is a finite for loop or infinite for loop. Come on, answer. Samyukta says infinite. What about others? Everyone. Darshini is also with Samyukta, infinite. Kashwant, Raji, Jyoti N, Jyoti S. Okay, infinite. Okay, why infinite? We will see that. Okay, let me execute this because infinite. See, minus infinite with the negative numbers, right? It keeps getting executed. There is no chance for this expression to get evaluated to be false. Every time it is going to be true itself. That's why it is an infinite for loop. Right? Infinite for loop. The number of iterations are infinite. Right? Uh, program 1 is program 2. This one is finite. This one is finite. Not this one. This one. This one is finite. Okay, next question. Think and answer me. So now tell me whether this is a finite for loop or infinite for loop. Tell me whether this for loop is going to be a finite one or infinite one. Yeah, Samik, I didn't see this. Yeah, Darshani. Yeah, Jyoti. If I missed anyone, if I miss any answers, answer this to me. Finite one or infinite. Got my question, guys? At least acknowledge my question. Jyoti, yes, says infinite. What about others? Infinite. Chaitanya also says infinite. Sashwant has different answer, finite. Okay, what about Darshini? Darshini says infinite. Raji says infinite. Samika says finite. Okay. Good, good, good. Jyotian says infinite. Okay. So it is not, there is no complication here. Okay. You must understand one thing. I is initialized to 0. Right. So we are using an AND operator guys here. Right. We are using an AND operator. Right. So what is the exact when you do any two boolean combinations with AND operator, right? So true and true is going to give true itself, right? So this is a typical case which will return what 0 is greater than or equal to 0, true only, right? Here 0 is lesser than or equal to 0. This is also going to be true only, right? So I plus plus, so 0, so true. First 0 will be printed and I plus plus I will be incremented to 1, right? So 1 is lesser than 1 is greater than or equal to 0. This is true, but this will be evaluated to be false. So first let me run this code, then you will get this. So no compilation error. So it's a finite loop, guys. Why infinite? See, output is 0. So I want to give the big round of applause for Shashwant and Samyukta. People said finite. Okay. So let us understand this. Get tracing. And again, these are the questions that you may expect in the interview room. Okay. So this is how the questions will be asked. Okay? Try to pay some attention here. Okay, we don't need all this. We will start executing from the for loop itself. Right? I is being initialized to what? The value 0 is being assigned to the variable I. Right? Value 0 is being assigned to the variable I. right? So we don't have any doubts this, because the reason why I am putting all this again and again is that this is how we have to think, right? So the second conditional expression, if you think the second conditional expression, so this there are two conditions, and these two conditions are getting evaluated on top of the AND operator, double ampersand AND operator, right? So we have discussed already about the truth table of AND operator. I hope you remember, right? The truth table of AND operator says only if the first condition and the second condition is true, then the output is going to be true itself, right? So if the first condition is true, what is this? The size is becoming smaller. The first condition is true, and if the second condition is true, right? 1 minute, please. So the output is going to be true, right? If first condition is true, second condition is false, output is false, right? If the first is false, second is true, the output is false. All the conditions are going to be evaluated to false except for the first one. Only if the first condition, the second condition is true, then it is going to be true itself, right? So let me write it like so first condition, second condition, result. So true is going to give true, right? Having said this, let us take this, and I am rewriting it here. 0 and I is greater than or equal to 0, right? So look at this value that is stored in the I, 0. So 0 is greater than or equal to 0, and 0 is lesser than or equal to 0, right? So this is going to return true. This is also going to return true. Yes or no? Right? So true and true. True and true. Again, it is going to return true itself. If it is returning, final output is true. If the final output is true, right, the control will get permission to get inside the for loop. Yes or no? Right? So this for loop, the body of the for loop says print the value of I itself. What is the value of I? 0. Right? So in the console, 0 will be displayed. Okay. After displaying the value 0 in the console, okay, the control needs to go back to the expression 3. Yes or no? From here, the control is to go back to expression 3. Expression 3 says I plus plus, right? When it says I plus plus, this 0 will be replaced with incremented to 1. And again, this 1 needs to be compared in the expression 2, right? And again, this will be entering here, right? Now, 1 is lesser than or equal to 0, and 1 is greater than or equal to 0. Comparison will happen, right? So this is going to return what? This is going to return true only, because obviously 1 is greater than or equal to 0. But this will return false, right? True and false is going to return false itself, right? When it is returning false, is there any chance for this control to go inside the for loop, right? It will not go inside the for loop, because the condition is returning false, so it will be thrown out of the for loop, right? I mean, it will be kicked out of the for loop, right? That's why in the console we get only 0, which means finite. Making sense, everyone? Hello, who have said infinite? Is it making sense now? Darshini? Right? So now think and answer me, right? I will understand only whether you have understood it or not with this example. Now you answer me. Please answer it to me correct. Take some time. Don't be in a hurry, okay? It's not like who is answering first and all. Now you tell me what is the output for this. I have just changed a simple thing. Instead of and, I have used or. So you will need to have a truth table of or operator. Right? If you understand the truth table of or operator, then answering this is going to be easy. My answer should be whether it is a finite one or an infinite one. As simple as that. You remember truth table of or operator, everyone? Every concept is important. Samyukta says infinite. Good, good. What about others? I'm not rushing you. Take your time and answer. Tashwant. Jyoti N says infinite. Tashwant. Raji. Jyoti yes is not answering. Jyoti yes. Who is remaining to be called? Chaitanya. Chaitanya has already answered. Infinite. Okay, okay. Infinite. Okay, I think you're getting this. Good, good, good. Let me run this. Compilation is successful. Yes, it's infinite because we are using an OR operator. OR operator means if one condition is getting satisfied, it is okay with it. One condition is found to be true, it is okay with that. It has no issues. Even though it is getting false, right? In every case, this condition is going to be true. This condition is going to be false. True or false, right, is going to return true itself, right? That's why it is going to be true. It is going to be an infinite true. Making sense? Right? Good, good. So the next question is, okay, these are the questions, and now you answer me one more thing. System dot out dot println outer main before for loop after for loop. Now what is the answer? You know that it is an infinite. Just tell me if the answer is before for loop infinite, or if the answer is before for loop infinite and after for loop. So I hope you are getting my question. I have added a statement outside the for loop, but the idea here is whether we are understanding it or not. The idea here is that the for loop is infinite. We know that already, because just now we have seen that the for loop is keep getting executing infinite number of times, right? Whether the statement is going to get printed or not. Just my question. Whether is there any chance for the system.out.println statement to get executed or not? That is my question. Okay, before an infinite, Chaitanya says. What about others? Before an infinite. Yeah. So from our answers, yes, you people are correct. Okay, from our understanding. But if I run this, so it keeps getting executed. We are correct. Okay, and there should be a statement in the beginning. Okay, if I want to go there, it will take a lot of time. Okay, so this will get executed, and this loop will get executed infinite number of times. Okay, so there is no chance for this line to get executed. It means if you are including any many number of instructions, so this is only one instruction, so no issues, guys. It's only one instruction, no issue. Sometimes, right, following the infinite for loop, right, we may write a lot of instructions after that, right? If this for loop is getting executed infinite number of times, it means there will be no scope for the remaining instructions to get executed. So we need to understand, while developing a for loop, we need to understand it should always be a finite for loop. By mistake, if you develop a for loop that runs infinite number of times, it means there will be there will be no chance for the remaining instructions to get executed. These instructions could be an important instruction, but it will not get any chance to get executed. So it is like we are doing a mistake indirectly. Are you getting my point? Right? So that's why this knowledge is very important while developing a for loop. It should always be a finite one. By any chance, if you develop an infinite for loop and by using any big applications, it means after the for loop there will be many instructions that will not get any chance to get executed. Making sense? Everyone? Chaitanya, Raji? Right? So now few more examples we will see. So few more examples on top of expression one. Now I understand that you understood how to identify the finite for loop and infinite for loop, right? Now you tell me, see, is it mandatory that only one variable needs to be taken in the expression mode, right? It's not mandatory. You can include two variables in the expression mode. Integer I equal to 0, integer j is also equal to 0. I plus plus, comma, j plus plus. So in the condition, I can say I is lesser than equal to, lesser than equal to 5, and j is lesser than equal to 5. I is lesser than equal to 5 and j is lesser than equal to 5. Right? I am printing I plus j. Can anyone answer this? So previously, we have been working on the for loop. The expression one is always taking only one variable, but this time I am taking two variables. As you can see, there is a variable I which is initialized to 0 and there is a variable j which is initialized to 0. Hope you are able to see, right? And a conditional expression and an increment, right? And I am printing the addition of ing. Right? Can anyone tell me, forget about the possibility, assume that it is possible and tell me what could be the answer. Don't mind if I miss any acknowledgement, okay? Hope you're able to get my question, everyone? Right? So two variables are there, guys. I equal to 0, j is also equal to 0, right? And I'm using an AND operator, one conditional check and another conditional check, and the resultant conditional check will happen with the AND operator, right? Incrementing both I and j. While printing, I'm saying I plus j. Anyone has any idea what would be the output? Just think, very simple, guys. Don't need to think much. Expression 1, keep the mouse pointer here, initialize the value 0 to I and 0 to j, and do the comparison. If it is returning true, get inside, right? I plus j. Initially, I is what? 0 plus 0. Output is going to be 0. The second iteration, 1 plus 1, the output is going to be true. Like that, this is the finite for loop. First, your job is whether it's a finite or infinite. First, you answer me. Okay. No, Darshini. No, Darshini. It is not going to be infinite. Why it is not going to be infinite? Finite only. I'll tell you why it is not going to be infinite. Yeah, even numbers. Yes, correct. 0, 2, 4, 6, 7. Right? Let me run this. I will tell you. Yeah, Jyoti. Yes, you are correct. Yes, correct. So when you talk about possibility, the first question, I am answering the first question, possibility, whether this is possible or not. Possibility. This is possible or not? Let us check that first. Compiling successfully means it is possible. We have an answer for the possibility. Secondly, whether this is finite or infinite. Right? Finite or infinite, it is finite. Why finite? At any point of time, see, this particular conditional expression is going to be executed finite number of times. Why finite number of times? Starting value is 0, right? So over here, in the LHS side, 0 will be compared with 5. RHS side, 0 will be compared with 5, right? After the incrementation, 0 becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Till 5 times the comparison will be true only. Sixth time, this is going to return false and this is going to return false because it is completely balanced condition, right? In the both places, it is 5 only, right? Balanced conditional, right? So, and again, I is initialized to 0, j is initialized to 0. That's why it is finite. So I can, I can narrow in, I can zero in that this is going to be a finite for loop. See, finite for loop possibility, and the output is 0, 2, 4, 6, 7. Actually, understanding this? Yeah. Okay. So this is possible, right? But there is a twist here. Okay, you may get a question like whether this is possible or not. What would be the output? Forget about the output. The question will be like, do you get any compilation error or this will be executed? The answer is this will be executed, right? But when you can do this, but you cannot do this. You cannot do what? You cannot do this. Okay? So one integer data type can be shared among many variables, but you cannot use two data types. Even though if it is same or different, you cannot use two integer types. Run this. Okay, this could be your question, guys. This is not possible. Right? So only at most you can use, I can say that the below for loop is going to give an error. Why it is going to give an error? At most you can use or declare only one data type, irrespective of the variables. Okay, it means I can do this one data type. By using this data type, I can share this data type with many variables. Integer I equal to 0, integer j equal to 0. Not only this, I can also do a equal to 0. Right? I can also do this. A is lesser than or equal to 5. And I can also k plus plus. I can also plus k. Making sense? Now tell me the possibility and the finite or infinite. Forget about the output. Just answer these two questions to me. Whether this is possible, whether it is going to be a finite loop or infinite. I don't want the answers. I want whether this is possible and it is going to be a finite or infinite loop. Everyone answer this to me. Don't get confused with this big line. Very simple. There are three variables that are being initialized to the data type, assigned to the data type, integer data type, right? And here the Boolean condition is a little bigger Boolean condition. What this is going to return? First you perform this, right? It's going to return true. But again compare this true with this true. True and true is going to be true itself. Then incrementation. A possible finite. Raji correct, Darsani correct, Samyukta correct, Jyoti S correct. Chaitanya is missing. Okay, odd number. Chaitanya has also answers with him. Kavasi is placed tester. No compilation errors. See, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Making sense? So the conclusion is you can use one data type. But you can, with the one data type, you can share this one data type with many number of variables. This is completely possible, right? Possible. Right. So with this, I can conclude that. I can conclude what? I can conclude that the expression one is completed. So there are no more questions that you will get on top of the expression one. So we have keep talking about we are stressing much on this expression one. So the same stress is going to be continued for the expression two also. Be prepared. Now let me introduce the expression two. Right? It's another program. Okay. Now let's talk about what? Let's talk about expression. Expression two. Right? So for expression one, this is the typical syntax. Expression two, expression three. Right? Now the question is whether this expression two is mandatory or optional. Right? The question is whether the expression 2 is mandatory. I will give you the theoretical answer, then we will work on the practical problems. So expression 2 is also optional in the Java for loop. Right? Okay, sir, if it is optional, because of this expression 2, right? Because of this expression, it is acting as the gateway for the controller, right, to execute the instructions in the body of the loop. When I say it is optional, right, how the controller will get inside? Right? It is like, see, if you construct an house, right, and if the house does not, if it is not fitted with any doors, is it possible for us to get inside the house? It will not make any sense, right? Likewise, if the expression 2 is optional, okay, the controller will not able to get inside the for loop because this is acting as the gateway. Yes or no? Right? When I say this is also valid, if I leave this expression 2 as blank, this is also valid. But how it is going to compiler? How compiler is going to consider this? Making sense? How the compiler is going to consider this? That is the question. Right? Let us understand this. Let me remove all this. Okay. Okay. I am saying that this is optional. Right? By theory, it is valid, guys. By theory, it is valid. But the question is, how the controller, what Boolean expression the controller will assume when you leave it optional. When you leave it blank, what, how the controller is going to assume the Boolean value. It should be true to get inside, but we are leaving it blank. There is no expression. Right? If you keep the statement empty, or if you keep the expression to empty, by default, from compiler point of view, compiler sees it as true. Compiler will add a constant here, direct value. It will assume it as true itself. Making sense? Right? So this is our perspective. We as a developer, right? So we as a developer or a programmer, or we as a humans collectively, right? I am saying, are you able to see anything here? Nothing is there, right? So expression 2 is blank. When I ask these questions to you, like for example, when I ask this question to Chaitanya, can you tell me, right, whether the expression 2 is filled with any statement or is it blank? What Chaitanya will answer? Chaitanya will say, sir, it is blank. Nothing is there. Right? If I ask the same question to Jyoti will say expression 2 is blank. But everyone are going to say blank because we don't see anything in the expression 2. But from compiler will see this as, compiler will assume this blank space as true. True. Right? Compiler will see this as 1 minute, guys. I don't know why this is not being printed. 1 minute. Compiler will assume this as true. Okay, now you tell me, if I run this, whether this is going to be a finite loop or an infinite loop. Now you answer me. It is blank, right? We humans, we don't see anything. We can directly answer this as blank, but compiler sees it as true. Right? Having said this, right? Having said this, at any point of time, it is going to be true itself. Right? If that is the case, whether this is a finite loop or infinite loop. Now we answer. The question is very simple. Yeah, infinite. Good. You are getting this. Just one, there is going to be infinite only, just one. I'll tell you why. Infinite, yes guys, you are correct. Infinite. If you don't keep anything, by default, the value true will be placed by the compiler. True will be placed by the compiler. So true is a direct constant. At any point of time, the true is going to be true itself. That is the case. This is going to be executing infinite number of times, right? So this is how the control will start. Control will start from expression 1, right? From the expression 1 to expression 2. Expression 2 is true always, right? Expression 2 to body, expression 3 true. I mean expression 2 body, expression 3. It is just like it keeps circulating like this, guys. Control will be traversing just like this. There is no scope for this controller to come out of this infinite loop, because it is true. Keep circulating like this. The control will be like, there is no way for this controller to come out of this loop, right? True. It keeps circulating. While circulating, every time I will be incremented from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. It keeps getting incremented, right? The output is going to be what? Infinite times. Sir, I want proof. If you want proof, I need to run this. Compilation is successful. Don't you think so? It keeps getting executed. Making sense? Everyone? Yes, no? Just one? Are you getting me? Okay, okay. So now there is a twist here. There is no twist. Try to focus here. So now this is an infinite loop. We got to know. Possibility, possible, and the loop is infinite. Third thing is, I am writing a statement, right? System dot out dot println after for loop. So this is the interview question which I have faced when I was giving the interview. Okay, think and answer me. Okay, I will explain you, but the answer should be, when I am expecting answers from you. What is the possible answer, guys? Everyone? Even to be honest, even I have failed to answer this when I was giving the interview. I failed to answer this. Before infinite, Samyukta says before for loop infinite. Darshini also says. What about others? Right. Let me keep this question. Okay, everyone are giving the same answer. Okay, okay, okay. So okay, let me run this. Okay, thank you that you are answering. See, we are getting an error. When I ask you something, we should think, guys. I am getting an error. What error I am getting? So I will explain you about this error, but try to focus on this error. Error says line number 13. There is an error which is unreachable statement after the for loop. It says previously we did not get this error. I will tell you why we did not get this error previously, but now we are getting this error. Why I will tell you. Right. So if you talk about this, right, compiler is going to add true. Yes or no? We don't say anything. Compiler will add true. Yes or no? Everyone, answer. Let's keep the session interactive. Yes, right. Okay, yes, right. So if it is true, now tell me whether this is a constant expression or variable expression. I have already told you n number of times in my previous lecture. Constant expression is what? Direct value. Variable expression is what? Assigning a value to a variable. So now you tell me this is a constant or variable. Tell me. Constant expression or variable expression. I want answers from you. Constant. Constant. Why constant? Direct value. True is a direct value. When I can say this as a variable, if I say boolean b equal to true. If I use true, I can say it as boolean. I mean, if I use b, I can say it as variable expression. Right? Since compiler is adding this, compiler is going to add what? Constant itself. True itself it is going to add this, right? Compiler will make an evaluation. Compiler will get to know there is no scope for this line to get executed. Before even executing, compiler will identify this is a constant expression. Compiler will identify this is an infinite loop. Right? So compiler is identify this is an infinite loop. And it is also identifying there is a statement that is placed after the infinite loop. This is not reachable. Do you think this statement will get a chance to be executed? Do you think the statement will get a chance to get executed? Yes or no? Type in the chat box. Do you think the statement will get a chance to get executed for the infinite loop? When you have infinite for loop, do you think the statement will get a chance to get executed? Yes, no? No. Correct. Correct. That's why it is saying infinite. Okay, let me remove this. I have removed that statement. There are no statement after this infinite for loop. Now you tell me the answer with my logic whether this will get executed or not. Now you tell me the answer. Everyone. Now you tell me the answer. Chaitanya. Okay, let me acknowledge it. Inner and infinite. Yes, correct. Now it is making the program is more sense. Compiler is very clever that okay, even though this is an infinite loop, there are no statements left to be executed after the for loop. Yeah, I did not use. Yeah, correct. Everyone correct. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Compiler is very clever, right? So this is one of the one of the things that you need to consider. So when you keep this place empty, when you keep the expression to empty, by default the compiler will keep it as true. Whether the compiler is keeping it as true or whether you are keeping it as true, both are going to be same. At any case, that loop is going to be infinite. But you should ensure that there are no statement, no unreachable statement that is placed after the for loop. Right? So now you tell me, having said this, now I as a programmer, I am placing a constant expression false. Right? If you are answering this, guys, really you are so clever. Okay. Can you answer this? Can you answer this? You are answering this, and again there are chances that you may get kicked out of this lobby. Try to rejoin. Everyone rejoin. Okay, the classes are not over. Everyone has to rejoin when you are when the time is getting expired. Saidana, good. Inner outer. Samyukta, good. Jyoti, Raji, Rashwan, good. I'm expecting answers from who is pending to inner outer. Hey, everyone are giving the same answer. Okay, so you understand my question, right? Inner for loop. So since it is false, right? Outer for loop. Good, guys. Very good. See, what is this? Tell me. What it says, unreachable statement. Right? Now first you tell me this false is a constant expression or variable expression. Answer it to me, everyone. The false which I have added is a constant or variable. Jyoti, good. I'm saying good for your answers, guys. It doesn't mean that you are correct. Okay. Constant expression. Constant expressions are always evaluated by what? Compiler. Compiler is very clever enough that if it is false, is there any chance for the control to go inside? It is like you are closing the door. You are if someone is visiting your house, right? If you lock the door and if you go outside, there is no chance for your guest to get inside your house, right? Unless he is a robber or he is trying to rob your house, right? Likewise, if it is false, the gateway is closed, right? You think that the statement will be reached, right? Any number of instructions that are placed in the for loop are not reachable. When compiler is evaluating the for loop, compiler will ensure, okay, it's a constant expression. Compiler job is to analyze if there are any statements inside the for loop, they are always unreachable, yes or no? If it is unreachable, right, sometimes there could be a code inside the for loop which is important to get executed. It is giving you the information hey boss, you have written a code inside the for loop, but this code is not reachable. It will not allow you to compile. We don't get, we haven't got these errors in the variable expression, but when you talk about constant expression, this thing needs to be taken care. Making sense? Everyone? Chaitanya, Samyukta, I'm happy that you have answered the question, but you know, when I am asking you a question, okay, you think a little bit logically, okay? Okay, so now you tell me, do we get any error because of this line? Now you tell me, I hope you will answer this right. Okay, now you tell me, is there any chance for you to get any error here? What is the answer actually? Got my question? No statements are there inside the for loop, guys. There is some statement, you need to worry. There are no statements, so there is no possibility to give you the unreachable error. There is any statement compilable through unreachable error. There are no statements. Now your answer is the answer that you have answered previous, the answer that you have given previously, that answer is going to match here. No such one. Why we get error? No. Inner and outer for loop. Let me save this. Okay, one more thing. Follow. Thank you for rejoining us. Let us wait for them to join. Okay, guys, let me share my screen. Okay, we have a for loop, and I am directly defining a value false here. Right, so there was a statement system dot out dot println the for loop and after loop. Actually, I think Shashwant was right, because I will tell you why he was right. Let me run this. Okay. See, this is false. Since there is a statement inside this for loop, it is giving an error because this is not reachable. But what I am trying to do is, I am removing this, and I have asked you whether this is also possible or not, right? But ideally, it should not give the error, because it is false. Anyhow, there are no statement placed inside the for loop, right? The control will not get inside the for loop. Since it is false, it's going to come out of the for loop, and the statement will get executed, right? But the problem here is, The job of the compiler is to check till here. It is least bother whether if the statement is there or if the statement is not there, it is least bother. I can say that the compiler is least bothered whether the statements are placed in the for loop or not if the constant expression is false. The constant expression is false. By default, it will give you what? Unreachable step. Give you unreachable statement. I hope you are able to see my screen now, everyone. Hello? Type something in the chat box. Okay. Let me save this. Let me run this. So it says unreachable statement. Sashwant, you are right, but the we have missed a logic here. What logic is that? Unreachable statement. Okay. So if it is false, of course the job of the compiler is to handle this expression. Now, if it is true, okay, the compiler will ensure if there are any statements outside the for loop. If it is finding any statement, it will give us an error unreachable. But the job of the compiler is to only to recharge the statement that are placed outside the for loop. But when it comes to inside the for loop, if you are giving the constant expression as false itself, by default, the compiler will assume that the statements, whether you are mentioning it or not mentioning it, or whether you are placing any statement or not placing any statement, by default it is going to be a non-reachable statement, because the compiler will not check inside. By looking at this, it will assume that okay, the developer has some statement inside the for loop, this is going to be unreachable. It will not see whether the statements are placed or not. That's what the point is. If it is true, ideally, if it is true, right, then it will check. I mean, if true means infinite loop. At the same time, this is the duty of the compiler to check whether any statements are involved after this for loop. But inside the for loop, the compiler will not check. It will assume that the statements are placed, whether it is actually placed or not. It is going to assume that there are some statement placed inside the for loop. That's why it is giving as an error unreachable statement error. Making sense? Everyone, we will see few more examples on this. Samikta. Hello. We will see few more examples for better understanding. Now, you tell me, first you tell me possibility, second you tell me finite loop or infinite loop, third you tell me whether we get any error or it will be compiled and executed successfully. First, possibility, answer for the possibility. Possibility, infinite or finite? Third one is what? Possibility, infinite or finite. If it is getting executed, what is the output? The expression 2 is missing. If the expression 2 is missing, by default, it is going to, compiler is going to assume this as true. True means infinite loop. Okay, we got to know that infinite loop, but there are no statements to be displayed. This possible infinite before loop. Yeah, before loop. Okay, possible infinite before loop. Yes, correct. Okay. Yes. Let me run this, guys. So don't worry. See, before loop, don't think that it is just blinking. Okay, something is executed infinitely. It keeps blinking. Means there are no statement to be displayed, but internally the execution is happening. What I mean to say is this will be printed, so it will be assumed as true by the compiler, right? So infinite loop. This for loop is going to be infinitely infinitely getting executed. But the problem is there is no statement to feel that whether the for loop is getting executed or not. There is no statement for us to feel. That's why the cursor is blinking, right? If the cursor keeps blinking, it means for loop is getting executed. The execution is not stopped. Making sense? But we are not able to feel it. Why we are not able to feel it? Because there is no statement placed inside the for loop. But still it is a for loop, and the for loop is going to get executed infinite number of times. Making sense? Everyone? Yeah. Now one more question. I is lesser than or equal to 0, or I is greater than or equal to 0. So think and answer me. System dot out dot println I. System dot out dot println outer loop. First you tell me about the possibility. Second, tell me about the whether this is a constant expression or the variable expression. Right? Third, tell me about whether the loop is finite or infinite. Fourth, tell me about the output. Got my question? Let me keep my okay. So this is the for loop. I want answers from you like possibility, finite or infinite, right? If it is infinite, so what is the output? Or compile time error? You want me to copy and paste it here or what? Get my question? Before loop, infinite. Okay. Good. Let me execute this. Java C space start Java. Now compilation error. Infinite. Okay. So this will make more sense, right? This is the variable expression, right? If it is a variable expression, okay, it's not the job of the compiler to check whether there are any unreachable statements or not. Variable expression will always get evaluated by the JVM. Compiler will not check, even though if you have any, this statement is unreachable, guys, it is not reachable. But the compiler is not throwing any error because it's not its job. Variable expression will not be recognized by the compiler. First point. If it is not getting recognized, this is not getting recognized, this will also not be recognized. This evaluation will happen in the runtime, not in the compilation time. Right? Compilation is not clever enough to tell us whether this is going to be an infinite loop or whether this is going to be a unreachable statement. But if I do this, either if I remove that or if I do this, right? Now you tell me this for loop will get recognized by the compiler. Now you tell me the answer. Okay, Raj, super. Can see you guys. Don't ever mind if I'm not acknowledging your answers. Sometimes it happens. You got my question? Now the expression 2 as a constant statement, true, which means compiler will come into picture. Okay, once compiler is coming into picture, the job of the compiler is to find if there are any unreachable statements or not. Of course, there is an unreachable statement. This is the unreachable statement because this is an infinite loop. Yes or no? That is the case. What is the answer? Compilation error or execution is possible. My internet is slow or you are answering slow? I'm waiting for your answers, guys. Just on my question. Okay, Chaitanya says that. Okay. Let me run this. Java C space test.java. So here an unreachable statement, right? There is an unreachable statement here, right? One thing I will tell you, the simple bottom line is, right? When it is a constant expression, that if it is true, the job of the compiler will come into picture. Compiler will try to find if there are any unreachable statement or not. If it is true, it will consider this as infinite loop. Forget about this. It's going to be infinite loop. It will not worry about infinite loop, but it will worry if there are any unreachable statement. This is the typical unreachable statement. That's why is giving an error. It will happen only for the constant expression. But if it is a variable expression, no issues. Because variable expression will be recognized by what? JVM. During the execution, we have compilation phase and we have execution phase. This will be taken care by the JVM. That's why we are not going to get any error. Making sense? Everyone? Raji, Jyoti, yes. Yashwant is not there. Darshini, why no answers from you? Right. So now I will introduce one more topic today. So with this introduction, right, we will wind up this class. Okay, will not take much time. Right. So there is another. If I want to print all the even numbers, guys. If I have a situation like I want to print all the even numbers, I can go with a different approach, not an usual approach which we have done yesterday. I will go with a different approach. What is that approach? Right? If I have 100 numbers from if I have numbers from 0 to 100, right? So I have been given a set of numbers starts from 0 and goes up to till 100. I want to print only the even numbers from 0 to 100. If that is the case, right? So my logic can be like, so the boundary is 0 to 100, but I want to print only the even numbers, not the odd numbers. Right? So I can go with the if condition. If I percentile 2 double equal to 0, system dot out dot println printed. Okay, I have a for loop. My requirement is I want to print numbers from 0 to 1. Print only the even numbers from 0 to 100. Right? And I can keep a condition. I can use a if block inside the for loop. That is my intention. So this if condition state. So if the value of I percentile 2, if the remainder is 0 for any number with 2, and if you divide any number with 2 and it is going to give the remainder as 0, then that number is going to be an even number. Right? First, 0 will pass, 2 will pass, 4 will pass, 6 will, all the even number will pass, all the odd number will not pass. So the system dot out dot println statement is placed inside the if block. Right? But the goal of the if block is to filter only the even numbers. Odd numbers will not be filtered. Only even numbers will be filtered and it will be displayed in the console. Let me run this. This is a small introduction of placing an if block inside the for loop. Tomorrow we will see a lot of problems on this. I will also help you with the tracing for tomorrow. So can you see only even numbers here? This is another approach to print only even numbers. My intention is I have just introduced the flow. We will solve a lot of problems on this. Today we have completed the concept of expression 2, right? We have discussed this about this particular expression 2. Tomorrow we will discuss about expression 3, whether this is also the what we call it as mandatory or an optional, right? I hope you have enjoyed the class. Any questions for me, guys? Everyone?